Hi everyone, happy Wednesday. I had big plans to try to do a bigger demo type video today. And you know what? We're just going to go with something simple because today has been a day. And I just, I need a few minutes to talk about it, and I'm going to try to keep my eye on time. Let's see if we can keep this to roughly 30 minutes maybe. If I even get close to that, I'll be fine. So nothing fancy. We're just doing a color by number today because this is just what I need. I need to chill a little bit. This is Easter Ceramic Tiles, Color by Number by Prachi Dewan/Diva. I am working my way through this book. I think I've got about 9 pages left if you don't count like the front cover and stuff, which I usually try to do. And we're gonna skip this page, or should we do this page? I don't know. I'm conflicted. I could do this and then just call it a WIP Wednesday. Yeah, you know. I want to do this page, so we're going to do this page. And watch me not get all the way through this. Okay, you know what? Let's do that. See, this is what I'm saying. Completely indecisive today. I'm using Hotu markers that my awesome friend Chris, Christopher's Corner is the name of his YouTube channel, gifted me, and I like these a lot. They're broad tip and bullet tip I like these a lot for color by numbers. I've actually pulled out most of the colors that I would use. I may have to grab a couple I'm missing here and there, but for the most part, this has been the most coloring I can get lately, and oh my gosh. Alright, let's see if I can do this, because I usually don't do this live while I'm coloring. So this is going to be 19 is regular gray. Okay, so here we go. Let me zoom in. Like I said, I apologize, this is not quite as in-depth as I wanted to go with my next coloring on camera type video, but this is what I'm working with. Is that right? Yeah, I guess that's right. I was going to fill you in on like what all's been going on, and I probably still will, but I need a few minutes to talk about something that happened today, and I am just still so mad about. So I was working like I usually do, and like I usually do during the week, and I happened to get up to go to the restroom and do something like that. And we had our door, I knew I needed to open the door back up because we had our mower guy show up for the first time today, the first time this year, and usually when he's mowing I shut the door so we don't have as much of the noise from the mowers and this and that. And he had been gone for a little bit, so I decided to open it back up and let the cats back out. And as I was doing that, I was watching these kids walk down the road in front of our house. Nothing wrong with that. I think they're all on spring break this week. And I noticed one of the kids had something in her arm, and I was like, okay. And I looked, and it was like a cat, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I guess they carry their cat around with them. No, she was carrying it into I have an open field next door. She was carrying it into that open field to just set it down, and then they were just gonna walk away. Happening right in front of me. And I was so shocked, I didn't know what to do. I shut the door, I went in there, and I just incredulously told my husband, I'm like, they're just gonna dump a cat off. They're gonna dump a cat off right here, just right in front of God and everybody, and just walk away from it. And I was so mad because I was like, I knew whose responsibility this was going to be because I'm a cat person. And I was like, we just, we had Wesley. Wesley was mostly, I joke, Wesley was the not my cat around here, was kind of like the neighborhood cat. He was the last one that we really had in this area that actively shows up at my house. Um, what was I going to say? Got distracted. Um, 12 is light blue. Yeah. Uh, lost what I was going to say. Anyway, he was kind of the last uh, cat we had that shows up outside. Taco, excuse me, Taco was the other cat that we found outside that I managed to get microchipped and neutered. And I tried to convert him, like I tried to put him on the porch for a few days. And the plan was for him to, I was, hang on a minute. Okay. Um, sorry. I was having a moment. My cat Reepicheep, bless his heart, he's been extra clingy the last few days. And um, I've already held him. He'll get up on the desk and he wants me to just pick him up and hold him, right? And he'll just purr and purr. He's so happy. And I don't mind doing that at all. He tried to come by when I was trying to get some. I had to focus on work this morning, so I had to say not right now, but like, don't you come back up here, mister. Um, but then he came back up later, and I was like, okay. And he's already been held by me for a good 15, 20 minutes, like twice today, two different times. So he's had plenty of attention for right now, and he is going to let me talk about this in color because I just. Anyway, well, I'll talk about Wesley in a minute. But anyway, and the, oh yeah, Taco. So we put him outside, and what I was going to try to do is after, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks for the hormones in an intact male cat after they're neutered to, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically dissipate. And I was going to try to convert him to an indoor cat. He was off, he was kind of sweet. He wasn't super sweet. Like, he really was lovey, and then once you put that food down, like, he could care less about you. Like, he was just like, oh, whatever, people. And so I didn't feel like, I was like, all right, well, we're going to do like we did Leroy. He's going to have to go back outside until those hormones dissipate, because there's no chance of converting him inside if he is still a tomboy, tomcat type with the full raging hormones. And Leroy is still feels kind of like a tomcat, even though he's been neutered. He's still very territorial, and I was like, I can't, there's no chance of this being successful if there's any territory issues. So I was like, we've got to do like we did Leroy, let it dissipate and then see how it goes. Well, I tell you what, once he got out, he said, oh no, I am never falling for that shit again. Excuse me, I am going to cuss during this. And basically disappeared on and off for a couple months. And then he shows up with a big fancy collar on him one day. He's got a little name tag on it. And I can't remember what the name is. I call him Taco, but of course they named him something else. So somebody in this neighborhood has adopted him, and he is living his best life. And he shows up every now and then. I'm thrilled. I guess they never scan the microchip. But I'm thrilled if they ever do. I'm more than happy to say, he is your cat, and I'm perfectly okay with that. The microchip was more my peace of mind because he had to go back out. And he was very much an intact tomcat type that I think if I had tried to find him a home, he would have had an issue with spraying and territory. So we're just doing the best we can here. He was neutered, he was vaccinated. It was the best option all around, and apparently the best option for him, because even though he's been neutered, it's like he's kind of like Leroy. Those hormones just don't seem like they've ever dissipated. He shows up. He's still a jerk. He's not extra cuddly. he still acts like a little tomcat outside. I mean, not doing tomcat things, but um, being obnoxious. And then him and Leroy still howl at each other. And I was like, okay, well, somebody has adopted you. I am happy. He shows up, I'll give him a snack. He'll show up just long enough for a little bit of snack, and then he'll just go on doing. He's like, I got important cat shit to do, and he'll go on. Like I used to really be like, outdoors is never an option for a cat. And I know bird populations and cats that aren't spayed and neutered. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about cats that have been spayed or neutered, that may be feral cats or living in feral cat colonies. There are some cats that just do better outside. And actually, one of the channels I follow on Instagram, Steve Can Talk, I think is the name of it. Used to be a cool cat named Steve who used buttons to communicate. And I love his cat moms. And they were, I think they said they have 11 now, which I know what that's like because I had 11 for many years. They're living their best life. And unfortunately, he got cancer and passed away last year. And it feels really weird. Like, I get so upset about online cats, and his was really devastating, and definitely to his owners. And they just had caught a cat and tried to convert him to indoors, get him neutered and this and that, and we're going to try to find a home for him. And he just wasn't having it. He was so stressed. They made a little progress, then he suddenly regressed and was just miserable and sick, and just, so they, got him neutered, and they did all the things, and then they made sure he had adequate housing and everything, and they have cameras that they check on him all the time. But like, he was just a super feral cat, and so that was the solution. And again, I know I'm going to have people get all up and indignant about that, and I'm just, go talk about it on your own channel. I'm not in the mood for that today. um Wesley was one of those cats, and when I had to catch him to take him in that last day when that wound was so bad, I've never seen a cat react so badly to being trying to be put in a carrier. Like, he was absolutely unglued, off the wall. Like, and even the vet was like, he would have never, more than likely would have never, and never say never because it can happen, but she's like, I don't think he ever would have converted to being an indoor cat. She's like, he's just so feral. And so anyway, so I see them dump this, it looked like a kitten, in this field, and then they just start to walk away. And I close the door, and I'm like, I'm just going to let it run off, and I'll deal with it later when it comes back, and this and that. And then I come back through, and I'm like, you know what? No, I can't do it. I can't leave it out there because it looks young. It doesn't look like an established outdoor cat that knows what it's doing. It looks like a young cat that's absolutely terrified. And so I went out there and actually opened the door and stomped on out there and was like, what are you doing? And I was pissed, and I mean, rightly so. And so they come up with a story that they found her, and I say a story because of what I found out later, about how they found her in a ditch and thought something was wrong, and then they tried to take her home, and nobody would, the mom wouldn't let the girl keep her. So where they found her, they were going to, instead of taking her back to that spot if she was potentially lost, they decided to just bring her here and leave. And they were saying something like, well, we wanted to get her away from the road. I'm like, ma'am, you just set that kitten down about 10 feet from that road that's right here, and it's a well-traveled road. I'm like, no, I don't buy that. And I finally was just like, just give her to me. I couldn't handle it. And so I took it and I walked inside and I didn't really say anything else. They're kids. I don't know. So I'm sitting there on the porch with this terrified. Once I got a hold of it, I realized it was a slightly older kitten, probably under a year old. Just terrified. Absolutely terrified. You can tell she hasn't been outside because of the way she was acting. And just laid there, terrified, in my arms on that porch. And I was just like, oh God, Brent's going to kill me. I was like, Brent's going to kill me. And so I told him what was going on. And I said, just, she's too young. And she's obviously not used to being outside. I can't just leave her out here. I just can't do it. It's just, why is my phone lighting up now? Um, I was like, I just can't do it. I just can't leave her out there. And I'm assuming it's a girl once I got a good look at her. She looks almost a lot like Winry. Almost like somebody tried to do a carbon copy but didn't get it quite right. Or tried to do a copy and didn't get it quite right. So I sat there out there with her for a while. And then as soon as I put her down, she was trying to get in through the windowsill of my house. And I was like, okay, this cat's been an indoor cat. I was like, because she's acting like she's never been outside before. And she's desperately trying to get in the house. And just broke my heart. It just pissed me off so bad. And so I called the vet, and our vets are amazing. They know how I am. And they're like, go ahead and bring her in. We'll work her in. I was like, before I do anything, I've got to get her tested. Make sure that she doesn't have feline leukemia or FIV. If I bring her in, even if I'm isolating her in the house, I don't want to risk, bringing anything contagious into the house. I would isolate her, obviously, not just toss her in with the rest of the cats, but I was like, before I consider whether or not she's adoptable, anything else, I need to make sure that there's nothing seriously wrong. And plus, the kids said they found her in a ditch, and although she looked fine, I didn't want to, cats are good at hiding pain and illness. So, dropped her off, and they messaged me this evening. I gave them the name BMO, Beemo. BMO is a character off of Adventure Time. It's a little video game, like a portable video game console that is sentient and talks, and it's really cute. And just, I looked at her, I'm like, BMO, I said I was going to do that anyway, use that name at some point. So they messaged me. They said she's negative for both. They want to know if I want to vaccinate her for FELV. They didn't give me any other information about her. They're going to vaccinate her in the morning. And I'm assuming it's a her because they refer to her as a her. So, but I have no information. I don't know if she's spayed. I don't know her age. I don't know anything else about her. So I'm hoping I can get that info in the morning. And then after that, we will go get her. And I'm going to set up a room upstairs. It's kind of an isolation room. She can't go back outside, especially if she's not spayed. She won't do well on the porch either because this is a different situation and where she's a dumped cat who is obviously not used to being outside. And so I can't in good conscience do that to her. So we were going to put her in an isolation room upstairs. I'm going to cross my fingers that given the fact that she is not male, at least I don't think she is, and that she is young, that it will not throw the cats into a tizzy. And I guess the next step is I'm going to try to find a placement for her or a home for her. And that's what I'm going to focus on right now. We're just going to, the goal is to find her a home. Um, I do want to adopt more cats in the future. However, the plan that me and Brent have always discussed is that we would get down to just maybe Leroy, and then I would consider adopting some older senior cats because they get passed over so often for homes, maybe a pair, because again, usually it's harder to find a home for a bonded pair that maybe, somebody had and maybe somebody passed away or something, and like they need to be rehomed. That was kind of the situation I was looking for, because I know those cases it's hard to find a home for. And while yes, four cats feels like a lot to a lot of people, it feels quiet here. New cats are a lot of work, especially when you have existing cats. Also with cough cough behavioral issues, cough cough, Leroy, who I just don't know how well he would take to a new cat. He was the last new cat to come in the house, so he's never had to transition to another cat joining the household. And one of the reasons I've been so hesitant to do it is because he's such a drama queen, and he gets upset at the slightest change in routine. He gets upset at just about everything. He's so dramatic. You think being my youngest he would be my healthiest, but he he gets stressed out, his liver goes wonky, and it's just, anyway, it's a thing. So, I was hoping maybe like if it's just him and I get older female cats, I'm thinking girl cats, mostly because he's so territorial, um, he would be less inclined to do that, especially once he gets a little older. Um, Plus, the other three have had to live a lot of their life sharing my attention with other cats. And now is kind of their time. And so I don't want to introduce new cats to the population that might take the attention away. Like, Winry's got health issues, and so does Bagheera. And they've both, like I said, them and Reap Cheap have had to share a lot of attention over the years. And I kind of feel like they're seniors. Winry has her heart issues, and I don't want to put any undue stress on her. So, I mean, there are a lot of reasons why I'm not wanting a cat right now. But, I just couldn't leave her out there. I just couldn't do it. And I get so mad that, and I get so upset that I and later it was just, so I shared to all the Facebook groups because this cat looks flawless. Like, she doesn't have any, as far as I could tell, she didn't have any fleas. She didn't look dirty. She looked like she'd been living indoors and got out, snuck out somehow. And so I, of course, posted on all the local Facebook groups, hoping that somebody was just missing her. And I had somebody leave a comment on my post before I started this video. It kind of just put me over the edge. And she's like, I'm the mother of one of the girls that was, and she's like, she was an indoor cat, but they said they had too many animals, and they basically, I guess, told the boy to get rid of her. And the daughter wanted to take her, but the mom wouldn't let her. And I don't fault her. She's like, initially they told me the same thing about the ditch story. So I don't fault her. And I guess I don't fault the kids either. I mean, that age, they didn't just walk off and act like they didn't treat the cat like garbage. Like, they genuinely seemed, kind of distressed about it. So I don't necessarily fault them either. But damn it, people, Will you please spay and neuter your animals? Please? Like, that's all I'm asking. It's not going to make them less feminine or less masculine. It's not going to. And yes, I know there's a cost associated, but we have numerous, numerous spay neuter programs in this county where people will come and get the animal, spay it or neuter it for you at little to no cost, and bring it back. Like, they have tried so hard to overcome all the barriers that would come into play here, like accessibility, costs, there is a way. And I've got to say, I give props to the organizations in my county that have genuinely tried hard to overcome those barriers. But this is just, again, I'm not faulting the kids. I'm not faulting that girl's mom. I mean, if they don't have room, they don't have room. I'm faulting whoever originally had that cat and just decided they had too many animals or didn't want her anymore and just dumped her outside and just wanted to dump her outside and put it on a kid to get rid of it. Like, that's even worse. Like, what kind of garbage human being does that? So lazy, you can't be bothered to go have, it's obvious, like, oh, well, you have too many animals. Whose fault is that? Maybe if you went and spayed and neutered, because this kitten's like 8 months old. Like, maybe if you took the animals you originally had, and even if you had to utilize these services, got them spayed or neutered, then you wouldn't have this problem. And just, I don't know what it is about people. I do know what it is. Like, people in rural areas like this are really conservative. They still view animals as property rather than pets, or, like, the way I see them. And they're lazy, they're entitled. They sit there and they go, well, you can't tell me what to do with my property or whatever. And like I said, I know there are a lot of barriers when it comes to being able to afford those types of services for your animals. But this cat is not grungy looking. She is not neglected. She does not look uncared for. It looks like somebody just got lazy, got tired of her, and put her out. And those are the people that oh my gosh, I wish for your shoes to constantly feel like they have rocks in them. Like, I'm trying to think of things that won't get me in trouble on YouTube. Like, may your bath towels forever feel damp. Like, I'm trying to just, any sort of just absolute annoyance, inconvenience. May you always be stuck in traffic jams. Like, I wish a lot worse, but like, I'm trying to filter what I say on this. And and again, I try very hard. I have tried so hard. And as I've gotten older, I've learned, instead, I know people tend to get older and they tend to get more judgmental about, like, young kids, and oh, they don't do things like we did back in the day, and da 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 da. And I know, like, I've gotten less judgmental as I've gotten older, and I've really just adopted this mentality of, you don't know what people are going through. Um, let people live their lives, and this and that. But my hill, my hill to die on, my one exception to that rule is people who can't even be bothered to spay and neuter their pets, and wind up with too many animals and end up dumping animals when they become an inconvenience, when they become tiresome. People that suddenly decide for some reason that you can't have a cat with a baby, you can. And people that just suddenly decide they don't want to be bothered with them anymore. They were fun until they weren't fun anymore, and they became an inconvenience. And people that view animals as inconveniences rather than as living beings is just, I'm going to judge the hell out of you all day. And I guess if people don't like that, then maybe there are a ton of other coloring channels to watch. Not that I'm going to talk about this all the time, but if you just can't come, if you can't reconcile with that, like, maybe this isn't the place for you, because I am tired of it. I cannot tell you. This is how I wound up with so many cats. This is why I've had to rehome so many. And the rehoming I've done, there are some that I've heard, there's some that I know went to great homes and they're spoiled and everything. And there was one that was pregnant that I managed to find a rescue to take her. And like, I know they did their due diligence in finding the owners for those cats and kittens, that cat and kittens. But like, there are a couple that I found homes for that, like, in retrospect, like, I have no idea if they still have them. I have no idea if they just became inconveniences and dumped them off somewhere. I'm honestly surprised if they did. They just wouldn't dump them off back here because they know I'm not going to put up with that. And maybe they don't because they don't want to be called out on it. And they know I will gladly call people out. And maybe that's why they don't dump them back here, because they know I will. And they don't want to be acknowledged that they were neglectful or bad people that made a bad decision. You are a garbage human being. You are. And if you do that. And my problem is I'm finding more and more garbage human beings out there than I am decent people. And people wonder why I prefer cats to people. Like, I wonder why. This is a very weird color choice for this egg, by the way. That dark gray, but we'll roll with it. Where are we at? Yeah, we're at 30 minutes. Alright, well, I'm going to give it a little more time. But anyway, she is safe. I was not going to let her. I just couldn't do it. And I've had I've had two friends who have had situations where they've had a cat that ended up having like feline leukemia, and the problem with feline leukemia is it's very contagious. It can shorten the lifespan of a cat. There's no treatments for it, and it's very difficult. It's difficult to find homes for any animals these days, particularly with the economy being what it is and the cost of everything being up. I can understand for a lot of people owning a pet is it is a financial responsibility, and with the inflation, um, the cost of everything's went up, including pet food. Like, the cat food price changes I've seen over the last couple of years are horrendous. But I'm sorry, when your kids that you have, when their food becomes more expensive, you just don't decide suddenly, oh, you took on that responsibility, but suddenly you can't afford it and you're just going to go dump them out somewhere, right? Well, I mean, probably there are some people that do, but you don't hear about that. Like, I just need people to understand when they take in an animal. I know they're trying to do the best they can for that animal at that time, but they've got to understand that it is a responsibility for the lifespan of that animal. It is not just I'm going to take them until I get bored with them and then I'm going to go dump them off on somebody else. Like, I just cannot reconcile with people like that. I just now 10 years ago I was still this upset about it, but 10 years ago, when spay and neuter programs and low cost programs and groups of people willing to come catch, even do TNR, catch ferals for you, neuter them and release them back out, when those programs didn't really exist 10 years ago, like, the same thing would happen. And yes, it is just as upsetting, but I was like, I know people sometimes just have to make a bad decision, and they're all bad decisions, and this was like the least bad that they decided they could reconcile with. Um, but I'm telling y'all, like, taking an animal that's been indoors, dog, cat, what have you, and just putting them out there to fend for themselves after years of not having to, like, again, you're gonna hate me for saying this, but I think that is one of the most cruel things you can do, rather than one of the other options, which, I don't think anybody should ever have to determine, but in some ways that's less cruel, because at least that animal's, and I'm not even gonna mention what it is, but y'all know what I'm talking about. In my opinion, that's less cruel, because I mean, I'm in a rural area. My neighbor doesn't keep his dogs up, doesn't keep them leashed. They run around. For all I know, they're the ones that caused the injury to Wesley that happened. I don't know how they treat cats. Um, they could have gotten a hold of this kitten before I could have, had I sat there and waited, and who knows what they would have done to it. There are coyotes in this area. There are all kinds of wild animals. For a rural area, there's a ton of traffic up and down these roads. Like, and we have a problem with FIV positive cats. Wesley was FIV positive. That was one of the reasons we had to ultimately decide, like, his injury was so severe, and because his immune system was so compromised because of FIV, he couldn't heal. Even if we had patched up his cheek, she thought he was actively suffering from an active FIV infection, and she just didn't think he was going to heal, because that compromises, like, your inability to heal, and it compromises your immune system and stuff. And so, ultimately, and that poor cat didn't have to go through that. Had somebody spayed his mother cat. However, he's been around like 12, 13 years. He was around a long time for an outdoor cat. And that is not a typical lifespan. Maybe 5, 6 years. And I know some of you are going to be like, oh, well, I know somebody's got a barn cat that lived 18 years and this and that. And yeah, a barn cat. I'm talking about a regular cat out in the neighborhood. If a cat's in a barn, they're probably roaming around a farm property, and they're not out on roads, and they have protection from coyotes and other wild animals and stuff. So that is, again, different circumstances. But I think it's like one of the cruelest things you can do. And I've never been able to have much sympathy about this, and just to see it happen right in front of me, y'all. To see it happen right in front of me. That's the part I can't get over. And now I'm even madder, because I told my husband, I was like, I should have just waited till they left and went and got it. Because I was like, now they're going to see me, and they're going to be like, oh, okay, she'll take these in. And so now I'm going to be, and that's the biggest fear. That is the biggest fear for people that rescue animals, is once people know you rescue animals, and if they figure out where you live, then you're going to start getting them dumped where you live. And I feel like there's been at least 2 or 3 cats have wound up here because somebody knew I was a cat person. That's why people don't like sharing that. It's like why people don't like sharing their information or addresses or things like that. It's why people who do things, rescue efforts for cats, they're very protective of their personal information and stuff, because they don't want to have even more animals dumped on them. And I'm so tired of it. And it's just, I get mad because sometimes I get mad, and I'm like, universe, whatever you believe, God, universe, nothing, just fate. I don't know, cosmos, whatever particular flavor you subscribe to. I just, a lot of times I get so mad when, like, when I'm going through the grieving process of losing a cat or something like this happens. I just want to scream into the void, whoever's listening, and go, why did you make me care so much? Why can't I just, why do I have to pick up the slack for other people? Why can't you just make other people more empathetic? Why'd you have to give it all to me? Because it physically hurts me. Like, hurts my heart. It physically hurts me because I get stressed and tense and upset about it. Like, why do I have to bear this burden? Why do I have to uh take on responsibilities that other people shirk? Like, it's like work. Why do I have to do other people's jobs? Like, why do I have to pick up humanity's slack here? And it just, and I just go ahead and put out there that I absolutely love my husband, and this is this is a part of me that has always been half terrifying to me, because I'm like, he willingly signed on with me with 11 cats, but he also probably didn't anticipate that he wasn't, until he moved down here and stuff. We didn't really, he didn't see where I would get cats and actively rehome them and stuff like that. And so um, it just, I know it stresses him out too, because it's just a lot. It's a lot to deal with when you have existing pets in your house and you're trying to keep the peace, and you have so many health issues, and you, that poor thing, BMO. It's not BMO's fault. It sounds like she was an indoor cat and somebody got tired of her and put her out. And it just breaks my heart, and it just upsets me so bad. But I can't stand for that. And so that is me today. Um, that is where I'm at. I got so worked up, I couldn't focus at work. I couldn't do any of the things I wanted to do today. Tomorrow we will, we'll set up that room as an isolation room, get her fixed up, get her sats, get her back, and I will reach out with fingers crossed that I can find rescue that'll take her in. Kitten season's really about to start up, so I'm kind of hoping I can find some availability before the kittens really start rolling in. That's my hope right now. She's really cute. I'm assuming, again, it's a she from what I could tell. But just the thought of, like, I'm assuming she hasn't been spayed, and so if she had been put out there and I didn't know, and she took off, and I've tried to do a really good job of the cats that do show up, making sure they at least get neutered. Um, but she wouldn't got, I mean, there are cats all the way down the road. There's like tons of cats and stuff, and she would have wound up pregnant. There would have been more kittens, and at least I managed to thwart that. So, yeah, just feeling real disappointed in people today, and just people. People again are like, why do you like cats so much? Why don't you, and this is one of my reasons, where they say, like, your 13th reason. This is my 13th reason. Like, this is just, anyway, just as I know we're done with the picture, and it is very pretty. I love these because they're just so colorful. And when I get done with one, they're doable in 30 minutes, an hour if I'm going really slow. I like this one a lot. Um, the Ho2 markers are really good. You can notice that these are really juicy markers, so I do find they bleed a little bit. If that drives you crazy, you may not like that, but I'd rather have a marker juicier than dry. So I don't sweat it when I get done with these pictures. I don't really notice those things, but for some people it really bothers them. So I do want to give that a heads up. These do have good bright color. This was 100 set. I might link it in the description, but I really like them. I've only been using them in color by numbers for right now because I still haven't swatched these and I'm really lazy and I need to swatch them. But I just, no, I'm not lazy. I haven't had time. Um, Work's been a lot, and that is another reason why I'm reluctant to try to convert this cat into this household, because that is going to be a process, and that is a stressful process usually. Um, and it was hard enough to juggle that kind of. I mean, at least the cat's not real skittish and half feral like Annie was. At least she's not like that. So it that was like a 3 month deal just to get her to come up to me, and it took a long time. Like about the time she finally got comfortable with me, I had 6 months with her before she got sick. Um, but it's a lot, and it was a lot to handle even when my previous job wasn't as intense as this one. So I'd rather not right now, but like I said, she's gonna be safe. I'm not gonna. This is not a cat that just needs to be thrown back outside. Just needs to be thrown back outside. It sounds terrible, but she is a different case than like Taco or Leroy was, or the other cats in the neighborhood. So, or a lot of the other cats that I have in the neighborhood. And I hate spring for the one reason. I love spring, but the one reason I hate spring is this is when I usually start getting the new ones, because everybody's it's mating season. The cat's mating seasons open up, and so I get a lot of roaming tomcats around here that I've never seen before that will show up for a couple months and then disappear. Some of them decide to stick around. Now with Wesley being gone, that leaves a big gap because he kind of took over most of the territory with like Taco circling in a little bit. So that's one of the problems, is when you do lose an outdoor cat, like it opens up territory. And so I'm going to have to be on that and just keep an eye out. But this was my fear, was like, I'm not worried about the grown cats. I'm not worried about the cats that are as worried about the cats that are already established outdoor cats and comfortable in this night. It was a kitten like this that worried me. But, it is what it is. This is one of my things. I can't let it go. So here we are. In other news, I guess, to talk about, I did go to a podiatrist because I'm still having problems with pain in my left foot mostly, though it's starting up in my right foot. He did diagnose me with plantar fasciitis. I don't know how you pronounce it. It makes me think of necrotizing fasciitis every time I say that. But it's not that. It's like heel spurs is what they used to call it, I guess. Anyway, he had a slightly different thing for me to do. He said, stop wearing the splint at bed. He's like, get you some arch supports for your shoes. Start wearing shoes around the house. Gotta stop going barefoot. Rats. And do these, he said it's due to tightness in my calf muscles. So I have to do stretches 3-4 times a day. And so far after about a week, there's a lot less pain. It's still there, particularly during the night and in the morning when I'm laying down for a long period of time and my legs kind of relaxed. But I found my problem with wearing shoes around the house is I have temperature issues and my feet get real hot, and all the house shoes that come out usually have like wool in them, or the really, fluffy house shoes, and they're so cute. I love all those, but like I can't wear them because I just get overheated. And and that's why I had these slipper socks that I would wear, but they had like zero support on them. Those were my favorite things to wear because they were nice and thin and cool. But I did find some clogs, not Crocs. I just can't quite do Crocs yet. But they're kind of similar. They're a clog style shoe that they have like open holes, and they have more of a tennis shoe top on them, so they're real thin, and they don't clomp around when I'm walking around the house. And I really like them. I can actually wear them with socks and feel pretty comfortable. So and they have really good support in them. So far I think I'm going to use the arch support insoles in my regular tennis shoes. But he said I should still keep walking and doing what I'm doing. He said the more you rest them, the longer it's going to take for them to heal. So I was like, oh, okay. So in a month I go check in with them. But like I said, so far this week, it's not worse. It's a little better. So thumbs up there. The cats have been doing well. Bigger has been a little more iffy on his arthritis, but I think that's because of the weather changes. Like, it's really affecting him and making it a little more painful to walk. Winry's doing normal. She goes back on the 9th to get her heart murmur checked to see if it's progressed any. I'm supposed to be doing traveling in May and June, and we're just going to have to see what she's doing before I guess I can really decide on anything. And everybody else is doing well. Of course, now we have this monkey wrench in the works, so who knows how things are going to go with this. That is pretty much it. I mean, I guess I really didn't have much else of an update. I just wanted to rant particularly about that item. There were other things I was upset about, but like this is top. This goes to the top of the list. Work's just been a lot. We seem to fall in this pattern where I get maybe a couple weeks quiet and then things get real chaotic for a couple months. And so I had a quiet period and now we're in more chaos. So I don't know. It is, I've been stuck in survival mode so long. It's making me difficult. This is not good considering recent events, but I'm finding I'm feeling so stuck and so much in survival mode and putting all my energy into work that any other decision right now feels monumentally overwhelming. Just even trying to organize my office, coloring space, starting a picture with just markers and picking my own colors feels like too much right now. I'm having to rely a lot on palettes and color by numbers because just any decisions I have to make outside of work right now, because I'm putting so much of my brain power into work, like I just don't feel like I can handle it. Yes, I do have a therapist, and yes, we're going to continue to talk tomorrow about this. But it is a problem. And yeah, I just feeling stuck and feeling discouraged because we just can't seem to catch a break. And if today's any indicator of that, we just can't seem to have a calm period where work's manageable and life's manageable and everything's going right. It's, even just a week like would be nice. And I feel like I'm handling it better than I did last year, but I don't know if that's just I'm simply so burnt out that my brain cannot take on any additional worry or responsibility at this point. Yeah, I don't know if it's just because I have blown out part of my ability to think. Like, part of that's just gone forever now because I have just that my check engine light's been on too long, and now it's going to cost too much money to fix it, so we might as well just total it out and get a new one, right? Like, I don't know if that's what's happened. I don't know if I'm just handling things better because I've been under so much stress that I've developed a survival mode. I don't know. It's another thing I'm going to talk to her about. Like this situation today, today I was like, let's just get her to the vet. I'll figure out past that point. Now it's let's get her in the room tomorrow. and I will figure out past that point. Like, I'm trying not to think about all the possibilities and all the horrible possibilities that may come down the road. I'm just trying to think to the next step. And I don't know, maybe that's the healthy way to go. And my brain simply just doesn't have room to do the unhealthy way anymore. So it's being beaten into submission, basically. All right, well, we are, I said 30 minutes, didn't I? But hey, it's under an hour. That's something for me. But here's our picture, and like I said, I think I don't have too many more left. I try to do one a day. Usually during the week I'm not very successful. I will be doing a finished pages this month. There's not going to be many, but I will be doing it. One, I already have that one done. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I might be able to do all these and then like save the last one and do it on Easter Sunday or something. But I still want to do, like, I'm probably going to fill in the "This Book Belongs To" page, and I'll probably go ahead and color those in as well. Just because to me, little things like that I don't mind doing to feel like a book's complete. So might have a completed book this month. That would be nice. Anyway, I hope everybody else is having a better week. And like I said, I mean, today's outcome could have been worse. I managed to get her. She was in good shape and she wasn't hurt, and I managed to find her, grab her before she got out, and potentially, God, I don't know, she didn't look pregnant right now, but I don't know her age. I'll have to get that info tomorrow. But I mean, this could have been a lot worse today, I guess. So look at me looking on the bright side of something. Those of you who've been around for a while might be kind of shocked by that. And again, I don't know if that's just through sheer coping mechanism power, or if my brain's just been booted over into safe. My brain, like a virus has invaded, it's booted over into safe mode, and so I'm actually doing things like the healthy way because my brain's not accessing all systems at this time. I think that's what's happening. So we'll see. Stay tuned on that one. All right, another coloring book collection video Friday or Saturday. I'm really hoping next week I can do the demo. I really want to color in this book because it's been forever since I got back to it. I want to do like I did on the first page with all this nice, pretty, shiny watercolor and stuff, and do the second page like that. That was what I was going to do this week, and it didn't happen. But we'll see. I am playing it by ear week to week because at this point, as you can see in a moment, all plans can unfold. They can come apart. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Maybe. I didn't cuss too bad. I tempered down my rage enough because I didn't want to be screaming into the microphone. And like I said, if you disagree with me, that's fine. Just not going to change my mind on it. I'm very... I really just don't care today. Like, after seeing what I just saw and going through what I'm going through, I really just don't care. This, like I said, if you don't like it, there are a ton of other coloring channels that have topics you probably would prefer, because this is my hill to die on, and I'm gonna hopefully not talk about this all the time, but you get me started on this topic, and as you can see, this is the kind of stuff that happens, and when it happens right in front of me, it's just the audacity, right? I don't know, y'all. I don't know what to do. When I say I don't like people, a lot of the people I've met honestly, I like a lot more people I've met here through YouTube and through this channel than, y'all seem to get me better than most of the people around me in in the world right now, in my town, and in my area. So I'm thinking you'll probably get what I'm throwing down. So, all right. Well, I'm still mad, but maybe just a little less mad. So I'm gonna go pet some cats and just be grateful that she's safe and I'm not sitting here sick, worried about her because I couldn't catch her. And yeah, we'll just see how things go. I guess I'll keep you guys updated. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.